Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, teachers. Welcome to the presentation on contact-based classes on the subject of teaching and mentoring assessment A. My name is Mr. Tedia Shiguguma, and I will take you through some important aspects of this subject. To start with, I usually advise my students that you have to make sure that you understand the meaning of the action verbs. Once you have a clear understanding of the meanings of these verbs, the action verbs, it won't be a struggle with you to answer questions, be it an examination or an assignment, because you have a clear picture of what is required from you by looking at the verb that is given before you. Okay, let's look, even though I know these verbs are in your study guides, I want us to have a look together, just to have to get a brief meanings of some of these verbs, to have the clear cuts when it comes to the questions. Then you know this is how I should approach this question. This is what the question is requiring me to answer. Okay, the word analyze. Should a question comes like analyze, what is expected from you as a student? Of course, here you need to examine information in detail. So you have to give detailed information about a certain aspect that's given before you. The word calculate, should it come, then you know that you should give a numerical answer from given figures. And comment, because in some instances the question might require you or might ask you just to comment on a certain issue. Then you know what you're going to do is to discuss briefly by giving positive as well as negative points on that particular aspect. Compare, when you are doing the comparisons, you draw a conclusion about similarities and differences. Those are the two aspects that you need to concentrate on, the similarities as well as differences when it comes to comparisons. Contrast. Here, if the question is requiring to do the contrast, definitely what you are going to do is just to pay attention to similarities only. And whenever you are criticizing, because you know, as somebody that's dealing with educational aspects or educational field, you must know how to criticize. When you are criticizing, you give a reasonable judgment after weighing facts carefully. And deduce. When you are deducing, use the information provided in order for you to draw to the conclusion or to drive to conclusion. And then define. This is quite a popular action verb that is well known to most of you. So, and in any examination or an assignment, they will ask you to define, to give a definition. So what are you going to give here? You give the precise, brief meaning and features. We proceed with action verbs, and the one of them is to demonstrate. Show by examples. And describe. What are you doing? You provide detailed features for, both for and against. Determine. Use provided information to work out the answer. Yeah, you are trying to determine. And distinguish as an action verb, very important also to understand. Here you are required to describe two phenomena by clearly giving differences of the two. While estimate is to give the impact of something. Evaluate is to determine the value of something as per set criteria. While if you are required to explain, is also one of the most popular action verb that is used in order to create a question. So it's to describe by indicating relationships between things. So you try to explain. While find is to calculate, measure, and determine. Identify, it's also one of the popular ones. You have to recognize and name, just simply naming. Illustrate, describe with examples. This requires you to give examples. while interpret is to describe something, explain the meaning of graphical information in most of the instances. While examine is to identify detailed features of something. It can also be list, just to present a list of facts, names, objects, etc. While outline is to give an overview and indicate the main features. Summarize, should it come in a question, then you focus on main ideas without necessarily giving examples. Okay, now we go to the presentations. The presentation that follows below is not necessary that it's ABC of what is the content of examination. You know, when it comes to this type of presentations, you are just simply being guided. And it does not mean that you memorize everything from beginning to an end, that this is what the examination will require. But it's simple guidelines just for you to have a picture of how the questions are drafted, just to, you know, to guide you and open your eyes that, okay, this is the direction that I should have. But it does not necessarily mean that this is the scope of examination, as most of the students think it is. So you are just being guided just to get a picture of how the questions would look like, but not necessarily copy and pasting. Okay, let's look at the word define. I mean the presentation in detail. Define the terms mentoring and coaching. As a teacher, you are sitting with the modules, and you know what. You know the content of the module, and things like this, mentoring and coaching, is something that you have learned. You can also expand your knowledge by, you know, consulting different books, also not only confined to the module that's given to you, and, you know, explore the internet just to get a picture, because you are not doing this for examination purposes only, but for general understanding of what you should fulfill as a teacher. Define the terms mentoring and coaching. What does that mean, mentoring? What does that mean, coaching? As far as your books are concerned, as far as other sources are concerned, you must get to the bottom and understand these terms, mentoring and coaching. Most of the students want to copy and paste all the words that are given in the module on mentoring the way they are. There's no true demonstration that you understand what you have written. You have simply lefting, copying and pasting, and this is not allowed. So you must have your own understanding of the word mentoring as well as coaching. Explain the importance of teachers with a passion for teaching. You know, in most cases we are talking about teaching is a calling. Teaching comes from the heart. It's not just simply as simple as getting job. You know, you are doing it with passion, and it is the understanding that you should have when it comes to this. Explain the importance of teachers with a passion for teaching. There are teachers that have the passion for teaching. There are teachers that are simply looking for a job because that's the only available one in the market. So you should have now a deeper understanding of teachers with a passion for teaching. Discuss what holistic school education should be about. If you are talking about holistic education, what do we mean? You should go into deeper understanding, because in examination you must be able to discuss what holistic school education should be about. What should it entail? So you should get to the bottom of that. Wider understanding. Okay, as teachers, we are always, you know, on daily basis we have to do lesson planning. What are the reasons? There must be reasons. We just don't plan to impress maybe our supervisors, head of departments or principal or inspectors or maybe education directors or adversarial teachers. But we do this with a reason. Our information should flow. Our information that we are presenting to the learners must be in black and white. They must be planned. So you must find the reasons for planning lessons. Outline aims of coaching and mentoring. What are the aims of coaching and mentoring in schools? You must also be able to discuss the issue of licensing of teachers and its relationship to performance. If you have researched well, there was a talk on the issues of licensing of teachers. So you'll be licensed according to your performance. So give your views on this issue so that you will be able to give your stand as far as licensing of teachers. If you are marrying it to performance in schools. So you should explore more information and get to the bottom of this, get a better understanding of licensing of teachers in Namibia, or maybe then you make comparisons also with the international issues, or maybe countries that are doing it already. Explain why it is important that teachers do, before that, distinguish between assessment and evaluation. Are they the same? If you are talking about assessment, so these are the things that you do on a daily basis. If you are talking about assessment and evaluation, are we referring to the same thing? So get a better understanding of the two, which is which. Explain why it's important that teachers do effective lesson planning. It's also related to the other one that we have spoken about. Now we are talking about effective, because lesson planning can be, just planning. Here we are referring to effective. Why is it important that teachers do effective lesson planning? We are all aiming, whenever you are planning a lesson, you are all aiming that, by the end of the day, my learners will be able to acquire these basic competencies. So why should that be effective? Analyze the benefits of mentoring and coaching. We all, imagine that you are just a new teacher that just came out of school and you did not get any coaching, and there's no one that assigned to you to do mentoring to take you to some heights. It's a cumbersome experience that you have to learn the hard way. But if you are talking about now, if you compare a person who has been mentored and coached, a teacher, and a teacher that did not receive any of the two, it doesn't really sound well, and these two people might, behave differently. Because a teacher who has been coached, who has been mentored well, is likely to perform better than the teacher who just came and then you at school and then you just learn the hard way. Discuss the qualities of a mentor. So, as I have indicated, you are being mentored in order to get somewhere as a teacher. But the person who is mentoring you should have certain qualities that you can also emulate as a new teacher, as a novice teacher. Then you will be able to mentor other people that are coming after you. So you should be able to discuss these qualities of a mentor. Outline the benefits of sandwich feedback technique. The benefits of sandwich technique. We should understand what we are referring to as sandwich feedback technique. So you should be able to give the benefits. Explain the purpose of assessment and evaluation. Does it serve any purpose? Assessment as well as evaluation. You must be able to explain the purpose. You should also be able to discuss the international recognized values of a mentor. A mentor should have some values that are internationally recognized, so you must be able to discuss them. List characteristics of effective mentors. What characteristics are these that an effective mentor possesses? So you must be able to dwell on that. Just to list, just simple listing. And you must also be able to define the term continuous assessment. This is a very, very good and popular song when it comes to schools, because you do continuous assessment. You assess the learners. You must first of all understand what is continuous assessment, and you must be able to apply it in your daily to day activities as a teacher. Furthermore, you must also be able to differentiate between formal and informal continuous assessment. We have spoken about continuous assessment. So continuous assessment can either be formal or informal. You must make the difference. Which one is formal and which one is informal? You must be able to analyze how mentors could coach teams of teachers. Let's say we have different teams of teachers. Teams of teachers here, we are just simply referring to, teachers are not in the same category because they are not teaching the same subjects. Let's say, for example, some teachers are teaching English. It's a team. Some teachers at lower primary, it's a team. Some teachers are at upper primary, it's a team. And different subjects that might be found at school. So you must be able now to analyze how mentors could coach teams of teachers. And then we move on to something that's also quite very interesting, critical thinking. Critical thinking. We encourage that on daily basis. At school, we encourage learners to think critically. We encourage teachers to think critically, because if you think critically, you will be able to plan a lesson that is more effective, and then that will induce critical thinking also on the side of the learners. So you must be able to name the integral part of that. Based on contemporary society, outline characteristics that shape society, contemporary society. So what are the characteristics that we consider that these are the characteristics that can shape the society? Because as teachers, we are not only entitled to do teaching and learning is taking place, then end of the story. But there are a lot of issues that are involved that has to do with the society. So discuss the qualities of an effective teacher. So, as I said, we have teachers. We have many teachers, but these teachers are in different categories. There are teachers that only came to look for a job and leave it there, get monthly salary. But there are teachers that are effective and they should have certain qualities. Who are these teachers and what are these qualities? So you must be able to go into details in order to give the discussion of your understanding when it comes to qualities of effective teachers. Furthermore, you must also be able to list practical strategies that can help mentees build a relationship with their mentors. So this is very, very critical. A mentee should have a good relationship with a mentor. Otherwise, mentorship cannot practically take place. So you must be able to list these practical strategies and understand them also. As I said, today you are a mentee, tomorrow you are a mentor. Then you must emulate good examples if you acquire these necessary skills. Explain knowledge features of adult learners and guidelines on how to teach them. So if you're talking about knowledge, we are referring to a certain philosopher, and that is, you can expand more information apart from what you have in your books. You can acquire more information and research and get the information about knowledge. Discuss how to show sensitivity for individual and cultural differences. We are living in a multicultural society, and we must be sensitive when we are addressing the issues of race, the issues of gender, the issues of, cultural difference. So you must be able to discuss about this. Explain effective listening to mentees. Effective listening. So it's important for the mentee to listen to the mentor and vice versa. What are the effective listening? You must be able now to explain the effectiveness of listening. You must also be able to explain how to use sandwich techniques when discussing feedback and observation instruments with mentees. It's further, we have spoken about this already, but it's further expanded in this instance. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the conclusion of this presentation. What I would like to tell you is prepare thoroughly for examination or assignments. You must revise all the units. Don't just be confined to the presentation that I have given, but you should expand and get the knowledge. You should not just simply adhere to the issue of what is given here, and that I'm only doing this for examination for me to pass and then get a qualification. But we want effective teachers. When you are going out there in the field, you must be effective enough. So please, once more, go back to the verbs that I have alluded to at the very beginning of the presentation. You should have an understanding of each verb, and you must be able to deal with the questions that come your way. You must give precisely what is asked. Don't give what you want to write, but you give what is asked with your knowledge and understanding. Utilize experience as a teacher, because some of the questions can be general, and then you have to answer it according to your knowledge and skills as a teacher, experience. And please, in any examination or in any assignment, do not leave any question unattended. Consult some of other sources for skills and knowledge expansion. Very, very important. Don't confine yourself to the module that you are given, because you must be creative enough to explore more information. All the best of luck. My mobiles are 0811480977, and if you cannot reach me on that number, you can reach me on 0812531801. Please take note. The time that you are allowed to contact me is from 8 o'clock in the morning up to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And please, this should only be done on weekdays. Do not call over the weekend. My email address is tshikukumu@yahoo.co.uk. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening, and all the best in your exam.